that's actually number one thing that I find really bizarre about chess, is that chess is like the one thing where it's like you're not allowed to be angry, right? You're not allowed to be angry at all. All right, you guys, we're back. We are now going to be doing a react to this video from London. It was done before the Speed Chess Championship started. This is Magnus and myself reacting to some hot takes. Let's get the show on the road. Here we go.
Okay, welcome to Hyper Bullet Hot Takes. You have 30 seconds to give your answers. Let's see who debates the best. Your first question. I like the format of FIDE's Total Chess World Championship, and it will still exist in 5 years' time.
Well, the problem for me is still, like, it doesn't really exist right now because we haven't had any tournaments.
Yeah, okay, so, you know, by the way, I'm you know, this is actually, like, obviously Magnus and I, we saw each other in Barcelona as well, so, like, there's a little bit of insider stuff going on here. But I will tell you guys, this straight up, from having spoken to Magnus in Barcelona, there is currently no guarantee of a Total World Chess Championship happening in 2027. As far as I am aware, they do not have the funding for the series of tournaments. So I think when Magnus is laughing about this, it's in reference to this, because right now it's all very, very murky. Now, I assume they're going to be able to raise the money to hold the event, but at the moment, nothing is guaranteed. There's no funding for the tournament as far as I'm aware. So we'll see if it even actually happens. Like, I'm not trying to be like a big Debbie Downer, but that's the current reality of the situation.
I will say that I really enjoy the combination of formats and rating somewhat faster chess as classical. You even see tournaments like Tata Steel speeding it up now. So I hope it's going to be around.
Yeah, I think the Total World Championship is an interesting format. You're going to have all these different time controls. I think it could be quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the first event in October goes. Will it exist in 5 years? Absolutely not, unless we see some dramatic change.
Yeah. So for anybody who's wondering, I'm also gonna give you guys a little bit of insight. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of this kind of like insider info, but the reason I say it's not going to be around in 5 years is it's kind of actually tied to what we were talking about a little bit before with the EWC and the Grand Chess Tour. But the reason I don't see it being around is because, just looking at it from a business standpoint, the amount of money that is required to make it successful, I'm just going to tell you guys that every event has 24 players, and the 24 players have to stay for 2 weeks, maybe not 2 weeks, sorry, it's like 1 full week or a little over a week at the competition. So the expenses are going to be astronomical. And to compare it to something else that's recently happened, which is the freestyle events, the fact is, with freestyle, I thought freestyle was insane. You had something like, you had 8 players. I mean, maybe initially it's more, but it's like eight players who are competing, and they raised $25 million. Like, in spite of the things that I dislike about freestyle and everything else, like, the main guy, Jan-Henrik Buettner, raised $25 million from investors for that event, and it failed. I don't see how a tournament that's going to have insane expenses and is basically has the same kind of model can ever succeed. I just don't see it succeeding, because it's based on the following. It's based on, either you're gonna have to find a sponsor that put a ton of money, or you're gonna have to have massive viewership. And to me, it just feels like freestyle on steroids. It really does. So I'm very pessimistic. I just don't see it happening, because this event is going to have huge expenses off of hotel rooms, player flights, everything else that already is going to eat up a huge chunk of the budget. And to me, I don't see a way. I don't see a way that it succeeds. Now, if you have less players, maybe there's some way, but just in general, I think it's effectively like freestyle. And they're hoping to get cities or other things to give them a ton of money to hold the events. That's just not going to happen. I feel like a lot of people, I said this earlier too, a lot of people in chess, they're under this impression that chess is like this huge thing, and chess in a way is a huge thing because there are a lot of people around the world who play it, but that doesn't mean there are a lot of people who watch it, or like it's going to be in newspaper, it's going to be mainstream news. It just is not at that level. You know, it comes back to the Grand Chess Tour thing about trying to compare chess to sports. Chess is not at that level, and it almost certainly will never be at that level. So that's why I'm so pessimistic about the whole topic, is just because when I look at the expenses just right off the top, I struggle to see a world where it's going to succeed. And I also think, additionally, One of the miscalculations that I view, or one of the things that I think I'm right on, I could be wrong, of course, is that the notion that calling it a quote unquote world championship is going to somehow make a difference with that versus say freestyle or any other, or like Grand Chess Tour. I will say that the fact is, no matter what you call a tournament, call it, the Intergalactic World Championship, whatever else, that is not going to draw people. People will watch the candidates and the Classical World Championship until the end of time because it's been around so long and it's so well established. But with this sort of thing, that's just not the case. It's just not the case. And I think assuming that you pay FIDE a licensing fee to call it a world championship, it's just not going to move the needle. I don't think it's going to move the needle. So that's why I'm so pessimistic. I'm sorry. Maybe people don't want to hear me say that, but I'm just being brutally honest when I say that. So let's keep going.
Next question. Norway will go further than USA in the upcoming World Cup football.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't follow football. It's I think because America tends to not be that good at it. We just don't care so much, unfortunately, or soccer as we call it. So I've got no idea. I'm going to assume that the U.S. goes further. I mean, the only player that I know on either team would be, of course, Haaland, who plays for Norway. But
that's actually not the only player that I know. I realize as I'm watching this now, I know Pulisic as well, who actually plays chess, another player I've heard of. But anyway,
we'll see. No real opinion.
Yeah, Norway's going to win the whole thing.
If we do end up seeing
Landon Donovan, I think, has been retired for a long time. I mean, Landon Donovan's been retired for a very long time, so he's not playing. If he were playing, maybe the USA would win the whole thing. To riff off the old joke from 2020. So yeah, Norway has a better team. I mean, I honestly don't. I don't follow soccer at all. I don't follow soccer at all. Yeah, I've got no idea.
a one-on-one stadium match between you two one day, who will have more fans cheering for them?
Well, I hope I'd have more fans, but I hope that the haters would be as loud, and I would encourage everybody who dislikes both of us to to come as well.
Yeah, I think if Magnus and I play a 1v1 in a stadium, it doesn't really matter to me who has more fans, whether it's myself or Magnus, but I think just having the fans who really appreciate the game of chess and having that atmosphere would be really, really special. So I think it would be a big win for chess if that happens one day, just huge.
By the way, for anybody who's wondering, I do apologize for the fact that I have these cuts on my face, but just to give a little side story for anyone who's wondering, I actually I didn't have time before I left, so I went to the United Lounge in Chicago. I went to the Polaris Lounge, and I actually went to the showers, and I shaved in the showers before my flight. So that's why I cut myself so much. So I do apologize for anybody who's watching this and sees that. But that's the reason for it, because I didn't have a lot of time. So and then back to this question. This question actually again is the exact same. It's the exact same thing, by the way. So when you guys see my response here to this question about playing in a stadium, if we were to play in a stadium, that would mean that chess has broken through the glass ceiling, and then chess is on par with a major sport. If you can fill a stadium with 16 to 20,000 fans, then chess is a sport. But until you get to that level, it's never gonna. It's not even really a question. That's why here, when you see me say this, I don't care if there are fans for me or fans for Magnus, because if that were to happen, that means that chess has made it to that level, and that would change everything completely.
There is some amount of money in this world where Magnus would be your second Hikaru at the upcoming candidates tournament.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Some amount of money that Magnus would be my second of the candidates. I don't know what that amount is.
Yes. Oh, by the way, for someone who's asking, someone says, wasn't there supposed to be a match between you and Magnus in Vegas? That is correct. But again, when I think of a stadium full of fans, I'm talking like a stadium with 50,000 fans or 100,000 fans at Camp Nou or something. That's what I'm talking about.
I think there would have to be something bigger.
I mean, everything that I talk about is I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm thinking about a big way, not yes. I mean, probably you could do an Evo style thing or something along those lines. But yeah.
I think, if I were playing at someone that Magnus really dislikes, there might be a certain American player. Then I think Magnus might do it for a certain amount of money. But for Gukesh, or even just the candidates, I'm not really seeing it. So I don't think there's actually an amount for this one specifically.
I honestly don't think I would be very useful since I have zero experience coaching or anything like that. So if I were to offer my services for any amount of money, I would recommend that Hikaru sticks with his team because he has a very, very good team, and I don't think I'd improve it.
Next question. Viral moments like banging the table and throwing the king to the crowd are good for chess.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, there's a lot that I could add for viral moments. I think one thing that's very important to note, I think about Magnus and myself, is we tend to be two of the more expressive players. And when you look at people as children, I think you're shaped by your surroundings. And both of us, I think, grew up following sports. And so we've seen sports figures and their emotions, their reactions. And it's very, very good for chess. And I wish more players had that sort of spirit.
Even though
Yeah, but this also, by the way, I think is another important point. And this is one thing that this is probably, if we're talking about chess and things that I actually dislike the most, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that chess players are expressive. And it always confuses me when there's so many people who like chess who are actual fans of like professional sports, and then they like get angry in chess. Like they get angry about all these different things. And I just find it really, really fascinating and bizarre at the same time that people who follow mainstream sports, like in sports, like someone gets really angry, they yell, they say F you, whatever else, like it's all good. But in chess, somehow all these things that are fine in regular sports are not acceptable. And it comes back again to like, you know, connecting the dots on what you want chess to be. Do you want chess to be a professional? Do you want it to be like a sport? Do you want it to be this small niche thing? Like what do you want it to be? And it's like everybody tries to have it all instead of accepting that, you know, accepting that it can't really be like that. Like it's really a thing. Like if you look at Magnus bang a table, you know, if you look at a sporting event and somebody goes to the bench and like they slap the water cooler, if you talk about sports, like I think that in general you're like, okay, whatever, it's in the game, like that's how it goes, and everything else. But if that happens, it's like it's fine. Or you know, you see Luka Doncic, he goes shoots the threes on the side, and he sees fans of the other team, he's like F you and this, that, or the other thing, and like nobody bats an eye about it. But in chess, somehow it's like all these things are not okay. So like if I get annoyed by a game and make a blunder, or if Magnus does, it's like there's so many people who like start like crying, like, oh, it can't be like this is chess, like you can't act like that. And I just always find it like wildly inconsistent that so many people in the world of chess are like that. I really do. I find it really wild. I find it really, really wild that that chess is like the one thing where showing any kind of emotion, any kind of passion is like not okay. But in regular sports, regular sports it's fine. Tulini says, "Nice meeting you Monday on the flight." Yeah, right. I spoke about that on my Tuesday stream. So it finds me. It just not finds me. It just I find the whole thing very strange, very, very strange. I find it just weird, very, very, very weird. Because it's like in chess, we're like we want chess to be like a main sport, but then we also don't want it to be like an actual sport with all the people being like super competitive and insane about it. So I find the whole thing just actually like it would be an interesting study to find out why people are fine with that in sports, but then in chess they aren't. Let's keep going.
Though we do not yet know his opponent, Gukesh will be an underdog at the next World Championship match.
Yeah, I think that when we look at the candidates and the players who are most likely to win, it's not a guarantee he'll be an underdog, but I think probably 4 of the players are definitely a favorite.
Like in golf, nobody shows rage. Are you kidding me? Have you not? Nobody shows rage. Okay, nobody shows rage. Okay, you know what? That's fine. We're gonna take a station break. We're gonna take a station break because nobody shows any rage. 1 second. We're gonna take a station break. Okay, let me find this video on YouTube. Let me find this. Okay, YouTube. 1 second. Yes, exactly, you guys. Thank you for saying that.
Offer my services.
Why is it playing auto? Oh, that's why. 1 second. Okay. 1 second. Yeah, because it just auto pops up. Let me find this. 1 second. Here we go, you guys. Okay, this is the quality's bad, but here we go. Okay, here we go. Nobody shows any rage, right? Nobody shows any rage. Here we go.
A smile off his face.
Plunk.
And back to number 8 with Sergio Garcia.
Next shot.
Third shot. Oh my! Does not like that.
Yes, you guys.
All. Garcia, the ball goes right, the club goes left. and Garcia is going to have a devil of a time trying to.
Yeah, you guys, there you guys go, right? There you go. Okay. Yeah. Nobody gets angry in golf. That's before I get to Tiger Woods, which of course I'm sure I could find a million clips. But yeah, nobody gets angry in golf. Nobody gets angry, right? Let's find one more. Okay, one more. Let's find one more. I don't know when that was exactly, but let me find one from tennis. Okay. Let's find yes, let's find one more. Okay. Here we go. Okay, one more. Just one more for the road. One more for the road.
He'll probably challenge that ball.
Not absolutely sure, but I thought it was out.
He's only got one left. Got to use them sparingly now.
15, 13.
Another forehand casualty there.
Did we actually hear this though? Did we hear
See
it?
if he did the right.
Did we hear it?
15, 13.
Another forehand.
Yeah, Federer literally says, "Shut up, go home." Federer literally here, like he gets angry and he says, "Shut up and go home." That's what he says. But hey, nobody gets angry in tennis. Nobody gets angry in golf, right? Exactly, you guys. Anyway, let's go back. We can also find some more stuff. But anyway, let's get back to what we're watching. Okay, let's keep going with our actual stuff. I mean, I can find a better clip than that. But you guys get the point. Oh, Kyrgios? Yes. Nobody gets angry. Okay, fine. I picked Federer because he's the guy who's the chillest, right? Okay, here we go. Right, here we go. Now again, like I said, nobody gets angry, right? Like that's actually the number one thing that I find really bizarre about chess. Is that chess is like the one thing where it's like you're not allowed to be angry, right? You're not allowed to be angry at all. But like everywhere else, like we're like, okay, it's acceptable. And in chess, it's like no, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Like it's just not. So anyway, you guys, I just thought I would show. Let's get back to the actual content. Let's finish this video up, okay? Here we go.
So it's like I would say 2 out of 6 in my view have a chance to win who would be an underdog against him. So it's much more likely than not that the winner of the candidates will be the favorite against Gukesh in the World Championship match.
For anybody who's asking about this question, by the way, about Gukesh and who's the favorite against him, I would say that I think there are 4 players who are favorite, but they're very tiny favorites. I think it's like 55-45 basically. I think that when you look at the players, I think Fabiano, myself, Anish, and Prag, the 4 of us are probably 55-45 favorites against Gukesh. I think everybody else, the 2 others who I think could win, specifically Sindarov and Wei Yi, I think they're probably like 55-45 underdogs, and the last 2 guys are huge underdogs. So basically, half the fields they win, they'll be a very, very tiny favorite. If the other 4 win, they'll be a tiny underdog.
The rule is that World Championship matches tend to be fairly tight, but I agree with Hikaru that I would say 2 players would be significant favorites, and there will be 3-4 more who would have a very decent chance, and probably only 2 where he'd be a somewhat significant favorite. So overall, the field against Gukesh for sure.
Okay, Magnus, if you played 18 holes with Tiger Woods and we let you tee off from the forward tee boxes, you would beat Tiger in at least 1 of the holes.
Yeah, Tiger is injured, so he wouldn't be able to play. I'd beat him on every hole.
Yeah, so I assume you mean the forward-most tee.
It's like the white tee, right?
If Tiger's not injured,
tee,
then Magnus will never win a single hole. But it would be fun to see that happen. I don't know what Magnus's handicap is, but I'd be curious to see what the outcome is.
Who will be higher rated in 3 years, Yuj Erdemis or Fausti Oro?
By the way, like I have to pause here again. If there's anybody who speaks Turkish, can somebody for once tell me how you pronounce this kid's name, by the way? Can somebody tell me? Because like everybody in my chat told me to pronounce it one way. Mike Klein pronounced it another way. Like, how do you pronounce this kid's last name? Like, I mean, seriously, like I'm not just asking for no reason. It's like, because Mike said it in a way that I'd never heard before. Everybody in chat said it a different way who was Turkish. So like, how do you actually pronounce the kid's name? Like, can somebody tell me? Like, I'm not even trolling. Can somebody tell me? I mean, because like I thought it was Erdomus. Erdomus is what I was told. It's Erdogmush, basically. Okay, because he said something weird. No, what did he say? How do you pronounce it?
Higher rated in 3 years, Yuj Erdemis or Fausti Oro?
Interesting pronunciation. That's not what the Turkish people told me how you pronounce it. But anyway.
Actually, wait. No, no. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I thought I heard it differently. Maybe it's not too far off. But no, actually, you know what it is? It's not the last name. It's the first name. Yuj. They said Yuj. That's actually what threw me off. That's why I got confused.
This is what I was told online. If I'm wrong, Turkish people can get mad at me or whatever. But I think he'll be stronger than Faustino Oro. He's already playing against the absolute best players in the world.
It's
so
too
he's already
soft for you
there.
guys? I'll turn it up a
still has
little.
to prove it. He's obviously
Turn it up a touch.
not far behind. But you know, I'd always bet on the person who's there versus the person who has to catch up. So you know, Turkey for right now.
They're so young. Just let them be. Let them develop. They're both fantastic talents, and they have a wonderful future.
Erdomish? Okay, Erdomish. Okay, yeah.
As do many others.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say the last 10 years you guys have become more collegial. Fatherhood has brought you two closer together.
We've had you know, little talks about it. Not.
Yeah, I mean, this is also something this is another thing that in the world chess always leaves me a little bit confused here. Is that people act as though Magnus and I literally are like we're on WhatsApp or something, just talking to each other all the time. And we aren't. Like, it's not that we're not on good terms. We don't talk to each other every day. So I find it funny that people seem to think that we do. Now, what Magnus is referring to here is that we had a brief conversation about fatherhood when we were in Barcelona, Spain, for the ICE event in Barcelona. I think I just mentioned that, like maybe 3 weeks earlier. So that's what Magnus alludes to here.
Too much, but I think at a certain point it becomes a little bit of not only us competing, but also we're also like defending the old guard against the usurpers of young. So we still really want to beat each other, but yeah, I feel like I'm done.
Sorry, for anybody who's wondering, yes, we're talking about it was a gaming convention. For anybody who's asking, it was a gaming convention, okay? Relax.
Yeah, I think in general, Magnus and I were on pretty good terms. I don't think fatherhood actually has anything at all to do with it. I think the fact that we're older, and I mean, in some ways, we're from the same generation. There's so many kids who are becoming good. We definitely don't see things the way we once did, and in a sense, we're also not in the same kind of direct competition. We have a lot of different interests now. So we are on pretty good terms, and I think it'll be exciting to see what the future holds.
Very simple. Who is the...
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think the time... I mean, I think what I would say is like a more expanded answer on what Magnus says here is that I really feel like things changed in 2020. I mean, I think 2019, 2020, things changed completely. Basically because 2020 is when I effectively retired from professional chess and I started streaming full time. It was also when we saw the breakout with the online tournaments, like, you know, with Chess24 and Magnus, they did that Magnus Carlsen Invitational. And so I think 2020 is really when it changed things. And because nothing got back to normal for a few years, by the time we started playing competitively again, both of us were not really pure competitors against each other in the same way, because like I was already making content, and Magnus had already stepped back from playing the World Championship, whereas before we would play each other in every Grand Chess Tour event. Magnus would generally, I mean, not always beat me, but he would definitely get the better of me. He'd win a few, draw a few. I never won, obviously, other than that one game in 2016. So like everything changed in 2020, and we never really got back to normal where we play a lot. Like we still play sometimes, like in these rapid blitz events online, but we don't play in these same classical competitions anymore. So we're both on a different track altogether. So 2020, in my view, is really when things changed completely, and I would say for the better, actually, for the better.
The better bullet player with no increment, 1 + 0.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously me with no increment. I think the years and years of mouse skills play a huge role. But the funny thing is, I actually don't like bullet as much as I once did, because there are various moments when I play now and I just completely freeze up for 5 or 10 seconds. So I think I'm better than Magnus. But even though I say that, that doesn't bring me great joy, because I find bullet with no increment a little bit unpleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I think people would be surprised to hear me say this as well. When people ask me about, do you think you'll play Magnus again in classical ever again? If you mean like a classical game with like 2 hours, if you mean like the standard time control, I would tell you that I think that answer is no. I was not joking when I played Norway chess last year. We played the 90 plus 30. I was not joking when after the game I said I thought there was like, I think I said there was like at least a 50-50 chance that it was the last true classical game that we ever play against each other. I was not joking when I said that. I do believe that. I think we'll probably play the fast classical, quote unquote, like if there's a total world championship, but I do not think there's a world where we'll ever play a traditional classical game ever again. I don't think so. So, and then to answer the question about Bullet, the thing that people will be surprised about is you see me win the Bullet Brawl, which we don't even need to go there as far as the complete brain mishap I had a few days ago. But as far as the Bullet goes, I don't like Bullet, even though I'm still very good at it, because I actually like thinking. I like thinking a lot more than I used to when I was younger. In fact, even today when I played 3-0 Thursday, like there were multiple games where I really wanted to just dive in and think for 10 or 15 seconds, and I just couldn't do it because it's 3-0. Like I could do it, get a winning position, lose on time. But I don't actually like Bullet for that exact reason, because you can't dive in and think about it. It's just like pure instinct, play a move immediately, and then there are plenty of times where like I just freeze. My opponent plays a move that I not anticipated. It's like, bye, complete disaster. So that probably would surprise people to hear that, but I really just like thinking about positions and trying to find the best move much more than I mean, like when I was younger, the answer would have been completely different.
These days, but maybe I'm getting old.
Yeah, there's mountains of evidence that Hikaru is better than me at no increment bullets. So I would say at a certain point it was close-ish when I was playing a lot of Bullet, probably 7-8 years ago. Now it's not close at all.
But the best part, by the way, I'll give you guys the last little bit of tea related to this video because it's a good video, is as soon as we finished answering and they cut the video, Magnus asked me how he thought I would do against Ali Reza, and basically what we concluded is that in a short form of 1-0, like maybe 30 minutes, both myself and Magnus would be competitive, but if it were to be like a long match of like 1 hour or 2 hours, like we would both get completely pasted, and we would not have a chance. That's basically the one last little bit of tea related to this video. Is that we actually spoke about this right after. It's like, how would we do against Ali Reza? I was like, nah, I don't think either of us would fare very well in 1-0. 1-1 is different, but in 1-0, we both thought we would just get destroyed.